Hey everyone. This week I wanted to get back on the topic of 3D printing because I think these could actually be more than just like little add-ons, more than just like a little keychain or a ornament for a tree. That's not to say you couldn't make something like that with a 3D printer, but let's see how you can make these types of things. So you've got a photograph. The way I see it, there's 4 different ways that you could make something of these. Actually 5, but 2 are very close. So the first way is to just make a silhouette, right? You take your photograph, put it into something like Inkscape that allows you to create a bitmap, which will give you a black and white image. You can then print that, and these are the 2 that are paired closely together. I talked about these last week. If you do it with the dark colors closer to you, that means the darker stuff will be printed thicker. And when you look at it from a backlit perspective, you'll get the silhouette, but it doesn't look like much when you look at it from the front. If you reverse that, make the light stuff more to the front, that pulls the face forward. All right, think of a person with dark hair. The hair with the first one would be pulled forward. The hair in the second one would be pushed back, so it would be much thinner, but it would pull the face forward. So that looks a little bit more like an image than the silhouette when you put it with light behind it. So one's for light behind and the other's light forward. Same thing comes up with these other types as well. One's a lithography, and the other is what's now called hue. HueForge does it. It's like a hue painting. And what that allows you to do is to save the steps of what would have been the final one that I talked about, which is actually painting the item that you just created from the step before, right? You've created that item where the hair is behind, right? The dark is behind, and you paint that hair dark, and you paint the face, and you create a photograph that way. The other way to do it is hue painting, and this actually allows the 3D printer to create the image for you. Now, inexpensive 3D printers usually have a one filament setup, right? So in order to do hue painting or to do lithography with that, you have to pause it when the color changes, swap the color, start the printer back up again, which can be rather tedious. Creality has one that will allow you to add up to 16 colors, right? 4 bins of 4 each, and it shifts the colors for you, so you don't have to worry about what color goes where. A lithography is designed so that the light coming from behind it paints the color. So with that type of configuration, you have to change the colors. If you've done any painting at all, and you know that certain colors can go over other colors and other colors can't, and certain colors will blend other colors, that's what we're looking at here, but as the light comes from the back. So this would make a nice lamp, for example, or something on a Christmas tree with a light put behind it. The other type that HueForge, which is the program, will generate for you is it allows you to take that photograph and it layers things on so that as you look at it, it looks like the original photograph. It does not need any backlighting to it. That could be put in a frame. That could be a Christmas ornament. That could be all kinds of different things. But again, it's 3-dimensional. You've added depth to your photograph, something that photographs are lacking right off the rip. That also means if you've got somebody like a bodybuilder you could pull that muscle definition out, right? This is where dodge and burn, where our skills as photographers can help us to make a better three-dimensional print than other people, because we have that extra knowledge, that extra skill that we've been using to add 3 dimensions to a 2-dimensional object. Now you're going to add that to something you're going to make 3-dimensional. So obviously this is going to be out of the scope of affordability for a lot of people, but you can get it done. You can go have somebody do it for you rather than having to do the printing and learning all about it yourself. That's not to say that the equipment is overly expensive, about $3-4 grand, right? So less than probably what we paid for a camera body to get this big beast that would be able to do all the 16 colors for you. But you'd have to have a place to put it. You have to learn how to use it. You have to learn how to use the program that's going to create that image for you. And you've got to buy all the filament for it. Filament's not bad, by the way. It's usually about $20 to $30 per. So that's not overly expensive for the 16. And filament comes in weight as opposed to measurement. So if you were going to buy, for example, you go to Home Depot and you buy electrical cord, it comes in 25 foot, 50, 100 foot, right? Your extension cords come in fixed sizes. But when it comes to filament, it goes by weight, and it's usually in the kilogram scale. So if you have a slicing program, it'll tell you basically about what it's going to be in length, but it also tells you what the weight of the filament is going to be that it's going to use. But again, these are all things you would have to learn, or you could outsource it to a third party. Now, expect to pay a bit for any of the Hue created things, because there's very few people out there who can do it. And if the person doing it just has a single threaded filament, it's going to take a while for you to get it, because it takes a while to go through and change it for each one of the colors. If you are painting with 16 colors, that's at least 16 changes. Bear in mind, if you go back and forth on any of the colors, and I haven't been far enough into the Hue Forge to know if it bounces at all, but it could. So you could have 16 different colors and cycle them through so that you've made 20 changes, for example. And those are going to take time. And for a person to get paid for that time, they're going to have to charge you for it. But that said, I think you could come up with some absolutely gorgeous works out of this. Now, I just got a 3D scanning camera, so I'll be doing a podcast in the future of what that's like. I don't know that you could actually get, one way or the other, a person out of this. I was thinking more along pets. And for me, if there's something I need to replace, like a case that got broken or something, I could scan the case and recreate whatever I needed, or scan a part and recreate what I needed. So that was my original intent for it. But I'm curious to see what other things can be done with it in terms of what else you could, what real world thing could you scan and then be able to print? Like, for example, a person. Could you scan a head and be able to create a 3-dimensional bust for something like that? Again, other things that we can add as photographers to our toolbox, because we have a different way of looking at things than the purely technical aspect that's brought to a lot of this type of stuff. So that's what I've got for you guys this week, and I will talk to you all next week.